It's great to be here. I want to introduce you to awkward Erik Hatch 35 or so years ago. It's quite the looker. It's actually the same material that my jacket is today for those pants. And I didn't realize that until I got here today. So that's something. I was born and raised in Fargo. Actually, I was a Northern Cass kid, whether you knew it or not. I lived in Argusville for my first 5 years and then moved to the big metropolis of Fargo. Erik Hatch was a lovely young lad, grew up in a single-parent home. My parents divorced at the age of 2, and then from there, my dad disappeared. Would see him like every 3 years or so with a phone call or a pop-in, and he would stumble in drunk or high or both, and it was an interesting way to grow up with the dad who you so desperately wanted to connect with. But instead, I was raised by the most ferocious woman on earth. You can tell by that hair. This is my mom, Betty Hatch. Betty is a warrior who has changed this world. My sister Tanya, 4 years older than me, lives in Minneapolis, and this was my family growing up. We were just a hair above dirt poor. My mom worked 3 jobs continuously just so I didn't have to wear Payless shoes. Now, as an adult, I choose to wear Payless shoes, so it's an interesting cycle, right? I did have one chance to shine, though, with fancy stuff. You can see that the sleeve of the jacket says Corvette, because this was a day in which I modeled for Kmart in Moorhead. That's right. Sorry, ladies, I'm married. I understand, like everybody's swooning right now, but I had a chance to model for Kmart. I didn't purchase the jacket because we couldn't afford it, but somehow I landed on the big stage of Kmart in Moorhead. This is a picture of my mom and me right before my mom passed away. When I was 16, my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I was 16. My sister was off serving in the Navy, living in San Diego, and my only person in life got stage 4 cancer. And Betty fought for 5 years, beating it the first time, and then ended up losing her life in 2001. Now, before we go on, I do have to point out that the picture on the screen has me looking exactly like Buzz from Home Alone. Yep. That's real life, friends. I enjoy being vulnerable because I'm the best butt of any joke you can have here. I got to tell you, at the age of 21, losing your only parent is wicked difficult. But that wasn't the hardest thing. The hardest thing was actually being awkward Erik Hatch in elementary and middle school. The most difficult times were when I looked around for the parent that I didn't have. I wanted so desperately for my mom to be able to be my dad. And she was a superwoman, but she couldn't be that missing piece. And so, here's what you need to know, is that I desperately needed somebody in my life. And I didn't even know it at the time. My mom, who was a super cool mom, knew that I was missing something. And so she signed me up for the Big Brother, Big Sister program. And as an elementary school student, I got the privilege of having a big. I was on a waiting list for years, by the way, because then and now, the Big Brother, Big Sister program is parched for men to step up to be big brothers. But I was getting served by a group called the United Way long before I ever knew what the United Way was. That kid that we talk about is your daughter, Del Rey. And that kid that we talk about was me long, long ago. And I desperately needed somebody to love me and care for me and believe in me and just be by my side. And it took the strength of a parent to show vulnerability that we needed it. And it took the awesomeness of somebody to step up. And it took volunteers and dollars from people that never even knew I existed. My sophomore year of high school, I was active at my church, a product of First Lutheran Church here in town. And we had this weird guy named Raleigh Johnson come to town. And he was taking this mission trip to Mexico. And we had to raise, at that point, 900 smackers to go to Mexico. And so I asked my mom, and I got $9. And I asked my family and my friends, and we didn't have a network that provided a lot of wealth and opportunity. And so Raleigh from church provided with me a list of people that I could contact and people that I could invest in. And I sent them letters saying, please, would you consider supporting me for this? And one of the guys that supported me for it was this dude named Tom Olson, who I had never met. And now I'm married to his daughter, right? Like, how fun is that? Because somebody who didn't know me said, I care about that kid I don't know. It takes ridiculous amounts of character and trust to invest in somebody that you don't know. Because when you know, all of a sudden, everything changes. Your heart totally shifts itself when you know. And when you know, everything changes. One of my favorite authors, Shane Claiborne, writes in his book, The Irresistible Revolution, that one of the biggest problems facing our world today is not global AIDS, and is not clean water issues, and is not politics, although that's close. And instead, what he says is the biggest problem facing our world today is that there is a separation between people. He says it's picket fences and SUVs that are keeping us from the world that desperately needs us. What he's saying is that when you know, everything changes. When you sit with one of those kids, when you go and volunteer at the backpack giveaway program, when you go and serve during the day of caring, when you get to know the needs and the wants and the desires of the people in this community, everything changes. And it's happening right now. Somehow, who was needed long ago for me stepped up, and now there are droves of you, 700 of you in this room today that are raising your hand saying, I'm here to do good, and I'm here to be a force for good. But I gotta let you know how champions are made. And I am a diehard Bison fan. I bleed green and gold, and if you ever watch the Bison football show, they always interview the players. And when they interview the players, they ask them a series of questions. And one of the last questions they tend to ask is, what does Bison pride or what does Bison football mean to you? And what they say is this, is that they learn to play for the person next to them. And it's not about the name on the back, but it's about the name on the front. And they are a part of a bigger purpose and a bigger plan. And I know that's just football, and that can be divisive because there's like 7 of you that like UND in here. And I'm not going to talk about that right now. Just making sure you're paying attention. There we go. But the truth of the matter is this, friends, is that we have this ability and this opportunity to play for that young, awkward Erik Hatch that you didn't even know needed your love and support. That was orphaned, that was left without the love of a father, that barely scraped by, and you somehow invested in me. And when you know, everything changes. It becomes this incredible opportunity to give and to impact and to change this world. This world is not changed from the top down. It is changed from the bottom up. It is changed from the people in this room choosing to do good. What you need to understand more than anything else today is that you and I are contagious. It's a weird word to use, but allow me to explain. If you make the choice to be generous, people will catch on. If you make the choice to be a miserable cow, people will catch on. It's contagious. Negativity and downplaying things and just being just blah, that's contagious. That can spread amongst like wildfire. But gang, so can generosity. And so can humility, and so can graciousness, and so can service. And you are the people that already get it. This is the choir that I'm preaching to right now. But you're contagious. And when you go back to your workplaces, the things that you do outside of just the ordinary will push you to that next level. Our ability and our choice to give more than we've given previously will impact your worlds, not just for the people that you're serving and not just for you, but for that coworker next to you. That guy or that gal that is always a Debbie Downer. They're watching you right now. And how you choose to act is contagious for them. Now, do a demonstration with me. I want everybody to take their right hand because we are the hand raisers of the room, and I want you to raise it as high as you can. As high as you can right now. Now raise it higher. Huh. Okay. Okay. Got a bunch of liars in the room. Yeah. So notice that. I said raise it as high as you can, and we all went to a point that's comfortable. And then when we asked for a little more, there was more to give. And when we from the United Way and from this community talk, it feels as though we are sometimes preaching to the choir because you all get it. But what happens is when you go a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, that is contagious. And the people in your families and your work will catch on and do what you do. You have the opportunity to be a force for good. You have the opportunity to do all this good and to make a lasting and profound impact. This is something special, gang. But Christina with the United Way told me last week that there's actually a double entendre with the force for good. And when she told it to me, I all of a sudden had this light bulb go off in my head because it's just for good. When you love a kid, that makes a change for good. Like forever. This isn't about just one person for one day. This is for good, for permanent. Your ability to love that person that you don't even know is at the doorstep. And so here's what's needed. It is not a small ask. Last year, the United Way went right here, and now we're asking to go here. But when we believe in a cause and we believe in playing for the person next to us, this opportunity is fresh and ripe and right here. My friends, together, we will accomplish the goal for 2018, and it's a big, gnarly one. We got $6.25 million, everybody. Let's go raise some money. Let's go do some good, and let's play for the person next to us.
It's one of those awkward things. Awesome.
Didn't know what to do.
You guys, this is fantastic, right? It's awesome. Thank you so much, Erik. Thank you, Corey. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for being a part of this. We just want you to know it means a lot to us that you took the time to be here for our community. We want you to know that you are truly a force for good, and we appreciate everything that you do and everything that you will do this fall in order to help us reach our goal. So we really, right, you and I,
yes,
we really want to make sure that people stay.
Oh yeah, there's like snacks, like
there's really good snacks.
For good, yeah.
For good snacks, right? But we want you to stay. We want you to stay for the social. And to get a little more information on how you get to the social, we're going to kick it to Travis.
Hey, isn't this great? Up here in the VIP area, where else would I be, of course? Hey, the second part of our party begins. We have a social up here with candied bacon. But anyway, the stairs are in that corner. Take it up. If you need an elevator, don't worry. We got you covered in that corner. And we also have a cash bar available. But Travis, I don't have any cash. There's convenient ATMs in the back of the building as well. So, hey, come up and join us. Thanks for coming today. Be a force for good.